Do you see this building? On the left, University Medicine. On the right, abandoned premises. Nothing to write home about.
And yet, hidden here lies a secret passage. Come
Welcome to the CLES.
a door into a network under my most.
Vast and labyrinthine, whose winding corridors, strewn with pitfall and occasional not-to-control explosion, serve as the nursery for countless technological marvels, each one reaching for the same goal, to explore and unveil the unknown realms of space. To navigate this gallery is, for any adventurer sharp and quick of wit, a journey like no other. The luckiest among us will earn the rare privilege of pushing back the frontiers of space exploration toward orbit, the Moon, Mars, or solar system. Many students will step through this portal, driven by a burning desire to tackle the physics challenges and reach for the stars. The first stage of their journey will take them to a military base in Tarn, where, for the very first time, they will build a technology capable of carrying them to the very edge of humankind's domain. I myself once crossed that portal, and for 5 years now, I have been wandering this endless maze of science and human adventures. Today, I wish to return to the very first step of my journey and share it with you. Ready for takeoff? So, what's the state of this? It's double or nothing. Either we get people, either we put it in sleepy mode. How do you feel it? And how much time have you to take care of everything? No, I don't feel up to taking over an office in a day negotiation. Yeah, let's do that and meet again at Brazil. Thank you for taking care of an incident. Bye-bye. That's basically how it started. We joined 2 days later at Cafet. They were motivated, but needed help. I joined. Before we go further in the story, let me put some context back. After 2 years of class preparatoire, I ended up at INSA. That engineering school is known for encouraging a strong associative life. The CLES is one of them. Founded in 1967 by Elon, students have taken turn under the same banner to preserve and perpetuate a knowledge born of a shared passion for the sky, the space, and the stars. At the time, amateur rockets were as powerful as the first prototypes produced by the state institutions. The problem was that people tend to make their own rocket motor in their garage. Those projects can quickly turn to disaster, considering the fact that if you compress the powder mixture a little too hard, well, kaboom! So, to avoid people making their garage on fire, the sale of rocket motor get controlled in France, and CNES organized an event called C-Space. That event enables students willing to learn rocket science to do it in a safe way. Keep the name in mind, it will come back in the story. Firstly named the FACIL, the association managed to launch her first rocket the year of its foundation, only 4 years after the first edition of C-Space. But, to be honest, there were INSA students at the first C-Space in 1963, led by Alain Juge and the club Oscars.
Ils sont venus membres d'une secte étrange s'installer en grand secret quelque part en France, sur un terrain militaire, un terrain sévèrement gardé. On ne sait jamais ce qui peut arriver. Un rat qui doit avoir de la famille dans les souris blanches et que ces jeunes vont tout à l'heure expédier dans l'espace, et oui, à bord d'une fusée de leur fabrication. Vous croyez que la fusée est prête?
Tout à fait prête, oui.
Vraiment?
Si, c'est prêt.
Vous avez mis combien de temps à la fabriquer, à l'installer, à la construire, à la penser, à l'organiser?
6 mois. 6 mois environ, oui.
Vous avez mis une petite bête là dans cette fusée. Pourquoi?
Oui, pour faire une expérience biologique, surtout un peu de survie en vol accéléré, vu l'accélération qu'il y a quand même, et différence de pression extérieure et à bord de l'engin.
Alors question un peu bateau naturellement, pourquoi vous intéressez-vous aux problèmes spatiaux?
Ça sera très long à expliquer.
C'est une passion de jeune et un rêve d'enfant qu'on est en train de réaliser en ce moment.
3, 2, 1, 0.
Et Alfred a fini par revenir bien vivant chez ses copains.
Generation of students then took turn building and launching rockets in line with their ambitions. It's led to the realization of projects that still make the association proud today, such as FSX-32, the two-stage rockets, or the Kansas Altaïr, which brought the students of that time to the United States. If you're willing to know more about the story of the club, I strongly advise you to find Rashik Medzani, who will be pleased to share with you many history of CLES projects. Year after year, this association has become a hidden gateway to the world of space engineering, and you can find many of its former members in that field. I discovered CLES during COVID. I had some English projects, and I wanted to try to interview an European astronaut, such as Samantha Cristoforetti. To reach such a personality, I was gonna need visibility and some interesting event to propose. I read a lot about INSA Association, and I looked for the aerospace one. I never managed to do the interview, but CLES crossed my path. I stayed pretty passive the first year, just wanting to see what I could learn about space telemetry. 1 year later, things had changed a lot. I went through some major changes in my personal life, and I needed my brain to switch into satellite mode. So, I took charge of the treasury and started looking for sponsors. To make a rocket, you're gonna need to be organized. That's not the kind of project you can achieve alone as a student. Indeed, This space is only open to association under the French 1901 law. So you need to find or create an association, which means that you have to be able to work with others and be ready to invest personal time on the project. This is the case in all the technical associations at INSA, like Megasport, Club Elec, or the PIC. The more involved people are, the more likely they will take a place on the board. In addition to technical projects, board members will have to ensure the smooth running of the association. Treasury, administrative management, sponsorship, communication, networking, integration and training of the new members, and so on. At the beginning, it was not too time-consuming and really rewarding. One of the first challenges was to integrate and to form the newcomers. It's important to take a step back to get a quick overview at the state of CLES at the start of the 2022 INSA year. The formal members were gone, either in another country or had started their first job. Strong disagreements splitted all the projects, leaving H-IIA as a disorganized one. The current board, Quentin, Zephyr, and I, had very little technical experience, and we had around 15 bachelor's students who only spoke English. At that time, I was very bad at English and too shy to speak of it. Of course, none of us had any previous experience about handling an association, but you know what? Never mind. We just did it. We tried, we struggled, we failed, we advanced, we progressed. By the middle of the year, we managed to gather money from DVE, CVE, Safran, free SolidWorks licenses from Dassault, Excel carbon fiber, and printed circuit board from ciel. We had motivated people on every project, and important progress has been made in communication. I had the idea to bring Bogdan and Zacharias, both new member involved since the beginning of the year, to Paris for RCE 2 to present our project. That year, we proposed two types of projects, small rockets and experimental ones. Each project must be reviewed by the volunteers from Planet Science, an organization under CNES administration. There are 3 review meetings before the launch week. The goal of these meetings is for experienced people to review the project advancement at different times of the year. On one hand, they answer our technical questions, and on the other hand, they validate the project advancement. Each project must be 80% complete by the last review in June. These meetings take place in Paris at La Cité des Sciences. Given the travel distance, I wondered if it could be an opportunity to reinforce the social bond between members. It's indeed a great opportunity to visit some aerospace museum. And it worked! An exhausting but encouraging day, the review went well and both projects could move forward. So back in Lyon at 10 p.m, only to wake up at 6 a.m. on Sunday morning to catch the first tram to go to the CLES-FACIL at Eurexpo. As you will discover it little by little, being engaged in a board association can be really time and energy consuming. More concretely, Yggdrasil is a festival at the crossroad of 3 worlds: heroic fantasy, modern sciences, and emerging technologies aimed at Earth preservation, all with a positive outlook. It also has an entire section dedicated to sci-fi, especially Star Wars. We do love Star Wars. We had a stand exhibition in the middle of it, where we had the chance to present our project and our association to random people who were just curious. It's a great feeling when you start explaining people why you love rockets, space, and planes, and soon they get just as interested as you are. Stars begin to shine in children's eyes, and Lego was definitely the best part. A few weeks later, after many astronauts at Café Tinsa, Quentin came to me with a proposal to go to an astronomy event called The RAP. The RAP is a gathering of amateur astronomers at a campsite in Craponne-sur-Arzon. I liked that proposal, and with Alexander, we organized a great event financially supported by the association treasury. Remember who is in charge of the treasury? Yes, baby. We invited our new bachelor students to join us, and they accepted with enthusiasm. That weekend was truly a game changer. Of course, we got unlucky and it was cloudy all night long, but we got to know each other better. We laughed, we talked, we took pictures in the front of a locomotive, lost in the middle of the French countryside. It is good memories. Here you can see one of the first pictures of the board that replaced me after I left CLES for my first job in Paris. I'm proud of what they have become. That year, I made one mistake. I thought designing the electronics would be just as easy as all the INSA projects I had done during my studies. Usually, a teaching unit lasts 6 to 8 weeks. You rush for 2 weeks, hack your way through some software challenges, and get a random grade between 13 and 16. But the gap is huge between a software project that doesn't even need to work for you to validate your courses and an embedded system that has to survive a rocket launch. I only realized that once I already was backed into a corner. 1 month before C-Space, it hit me. The association was alive again, and technically, we had made real progress, about 60% of the work. But it still wasn't enough to be ready for launch. Too many challenges, not enough time. And on top of that, my resume and my entire early career path were built around my involvement in the association. After the first C-Space, I had 2 options. Give up and lose all credibility, or double down and go for another year. So I ran for president and got elected. The second year was basically the same adventure, just more intense, crazier, and a lot more successful. I don't know about you, but I'm getting tired of hearing myself talk. So let's put this into music.